on the need to build people's skills as they are key to building personal income. Government commits to delivering universal reliable energy for all Malawians to increase productivity. And in sports, the Africa Netball Cup kicks off at Griffin Sayenda Sports Complex in Lilongwe today. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. First Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah has stressed the need for people to build their skills as they are key to improving personal income. Dr. Ansah made the remarks at the Ziembe Thanksgiving service in Cheo to celebrate her ascendancy to the Vice Presidency. More with Trust Office.
The Ziembe Thanksgiving service, which was held to praise God for the ascendance of Justice Dr. Jane Ansah as first Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, started at Inko's Njolomole's residence with a donation of piglets to chiefs and businessmen as a way of instilling a spirit of hard work and financial independence among the people. The first Vice President stressed the need to build people's skills, which she said are key to improving personal income. Dr. Ansah also challenged leaders at all levels, both in the church and in government, to desist from corruption, which she described as strange in a country dominated by the Christian community. And traditional leaders, including Inkosiamakos Goman 5, have held President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika for trusting the people of Ncheu through the appointment of Dr. Jane Ansah. The Ziembe Thanksgiving, which among others was marked by traditional dances and a church service, was attended by leaders from both the church and senior chiefs of the Maseko Ngoni. Trust Office, MBC News, Lirongwe.
Health workers must treat patients with dignity in order to improve health outcomes in the country. Principal Secretary responsible for administration in the Ministry of Health, Beston Jesamile, made the remarks at Chezi Trading Center in Doha during the commemoration of the Integrated National Health Day. Madalitso Mhango reports.
Principal Secretary responsible for administration in the Ministry of Health, Beston Kisamile, says poor quality health care and disrespect by health workers contribute to poor health outcomes. Kisamile also attributes the shortage of health workers as one of the major challenges affecting healthcare delivery. He, however, said the government has made significant strides in recruiting disease control and surveillance assistants and scaling up the integrated community health program to promote community health services in the country.
The government alone and its partners were doing a lot. For instance, in the current financial year, we have managed to recruit 2,500 health workers that are posted in the various districts. Right now, over 600 are undergoing training. The government has also procured 3,000 bicycles and also 6,000 tablets that will enable the health workers to access data and transmit it in a manner that everyone can possibly check.
During the commemoration, World Bicycle Relief donated bicycles to the Ministry of Health. The organization's country director, Anthony Kinyard, says the gesture aims to ease mobility challenges among health workers operating in hard-to-reach areas.
We know that bicycles make a profound impact in the service delivery for health workers. They reduce the time to get to patients, so we want to play a part in improving healthcare in Malawi.
The event also marked the commemoration of 4 health days, including National Community Health Day, World Hospice and Palliative Care Day, Environmental Health Day, and Patient Safety Day. This year's Integrated National Health Day was held under the theme Celebrating Healthy Lives, Protecting Equity, Honoring Dignity. Madalitso Mhango, MBC News, Doha.
Government is invested in improving children's welfare in the country. This follows the launch of the National Children's Commission (NCC) by the Ministry of Gender, Children, Disability and Social Welfare. Speaking at the launch, Minister of Gender Mary Navicha said the establishment of the NCC represents government's commitment to safeguarding children. Catherine Banda has filed us this report, being read by Madalitso Mhango.
Minister of Gender, Children, Disability and Social Welfare, Mary Navicha, said Malawi has never lacked the policies, strategies or frameworks for child protection, but what has been lacking is sufficient coordination, funding and enforcement gaps the NCC is expected to close. Navicha said the Commission is expected to champion accountability on child-related matters, elevate children's voices, coordinate child affairs stakeholders and ensure that decisions affecting children are made with clarity, evidence and urgency. While pledging full government support towards the NCC, the minister warned perpetrators of child abuse, noting that the rise in deferment cases in the country is disturbing and cannot be tolerated.
It's time for action. Malawians are good at making good policies. We are also good at coming up with good strategies, documents and presentations. But when it comes to implementation, it's really a very big challenge. So I was pleading with the Commission and other stakeholders to ensure that we take action. We have to see the figures. We have to see the lives of our children transformed. We have to see the street kids being reintegrated. So we need to take action and the time has come. This is the time.
National Children's Commission NCC Vice Chairperson Benedicto Gondowe said the responsibility of protecting and advancing child rights does not rest solely with the Commission, but requires a collective effort. He said the NCC is expected to develop a strategic plan that will outline priorities aligned with government frameworks, including Malawi 2063, and ensure policies that adequately address children's issues.
One of the starting points is to make sure that our national budget is promoting child investment, and the Commission has been given the mandate to make sure that all ministries integrate child investment as a priority. So when government will be formulating the budget, the Commission will be monitoring what investment programs are each ministry including, but after the budget has been appropriated, we will still monitor to make sure that there is proper utilization of child investment support towards uplifting the lives of children.
Meanwhile, the Children's Forum presented its communique to the ministry in the NCC, calling for government attention to issues such as conducive learning environment for children with disabilities, quality education, child marriages, street-connected children and sexual abuse, among others.
We recommended that they should construct classes which are disability friendly. We also recommended that they should give stiff punishments to those who are found doing some abuses and also some harassments.
The government launched the commission under the theme A New Dawn for Malawi's Children. The commission, established in 2019, aims to oversee children's affairs, advance child rights and coordinate the efforts of various stakeholders working on child-related matters.
Today marks day number 14 in the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and the Irish government has committed to continue supporting Malawi's efforts in curbing the vice. Irish Ambassador to Malawi, Kate Brady, made the remarks at Nkanda Primary School ground in Jinji during an Ending Violence Against Women and Girls campaign. Olive Perry has filed this report, being read by Helix Manemba.
As the world commemorates the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Oxfam, in collaboration with the Concerned Youth Organization and with support from Irish Aid, organized an Ending Violence Against Women and Girls community campaign in Chinji district. Speaking during the event, Victim Support Unit Coordinator at Mchinji Police Station, Grace Chinyama, said they have not recorded any cases of digital violence in the district. She said they have documented other forms of gender-based violence which have decreased from 438 in 2024 to 405 this year. Irish Ambassador to Malawi, Kate Brady, commended authorities in Mchinji district for reducing gender-based violence cases. Brady emphasized the need for various authorities across the country to push further and work together to eliminate digital violence against women and girls.
It is a very significant priority for us to support Malawians and others to end gender-based violence in their communities and in their countries. But of course the work must be done by Malawians. and we're delighted to see so many Malawian leaders here today who are doing great work. We will continue to support them how we can. In a large part, this involves providing funding.
Executive Director for the concerned youth organization, Havich Mariro, said they are implementing various interventions in the district aimed at ending violence against women and girls.
We are carrying out interventions like we are training women and girls in livelihood skills. You've seen from the exhibitions where we are training women and girls in tailoring. We are training women and girls in soap making. We are training women and girls in petroleum jelly making, and a number of interventions. These aimed at building livelihood skills or abilities that should enable these women and girls to address or to become financially independent, thereby addressing issues of gender-based violence.
The global theme for the 2025 16 Days of Activism is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls, while Malawi is commemorating the campaign under the theme Unite to End Digital Gender-Based Violence in Malawi.
District council leaders, including councillors, need to enroll for higher education to achieve more with the 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund allocation. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, made the remarks in Rumpi when he interacted with council staff, councillors and chiefs from the district. More with Temba Mali.
Speaking to MBC after the event, Piri said with the increased allocation to CDF, councils must have directors and other staff who are well educated so that they can properly make use of the money. He also called on councillors to upgrade themselves so that they are able to provide checks and balances to council staff.
We have demanded that district commissioners, which we are done now, we have looked at their credentials to make sure that they are indeed, they've got the stamina of handling these amounts. I'll give you a good example of a council like Mzimba, which has got 13 districts. From their annual budgets, which are around 2 billion, now they'll be getting 65 billion kwacha. It takes a man to really absorb that money, spend that money with quality, spend that money with accountability, and we have looked at their qualifications. We are now happy. We are now going down, and we are saying Director of Finances should have a minimum of an accounting degree, studying towards being a chartered accountant, for 2 reasons. Number one, they will not have an excuse. Number two, the ethics committee, which is the ICAM, for example, will be able to whip them in case they have problems. So we are saying we are putting every measure to make sure that this money is safeguarded. Human capacity at councils, that we are not compromising, to make sure that the resources of Malawian, which is at hard-earned money, taxpayers' money, will be done.
The minister has also implored on Rumpi District Council to come up with visionary strategic plans on what they intend to achieve within the coming years.
You know, we've got an agenda which is the 2063. All of us are supposed to be driving towards there. At the moment, the people of Malawi have entrusted us with that responsibility, be it politicians or civil servants. But halfway the line, 2030, we must attain the middle income status. For us to do that, we must have a clear plan. What is the problem today is that we hide behind the veil of resources. So everything that we say resources, resources. But show me your plan, and I'll show you whether you are geared to succeed or not. And I can assure you quite a lot of people do not. So I'm challenging them to say, show me your plans and leave the rest with me.
While still in Rumpi, the Minister of Local Government also elevated GVH Ndendende to sub-TA Ndendende under Traditional Authority Mwankunikira. In his speech, Piri called on the newly elevated chief to be an advocate of transformative change and desist from engaging in corrupt practices. Temba Male, MBC News, Rumpi.
You're watching MBC News and you are with me, Abale Chingambi. A reminder of our top stories. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah stresses on the need to build people's skills as they are key to building personal income. Government commits to delivering universal reliable energy for all Malawians to increase productivity. And in sports, the Africa Netball Cup kicks off at Griffin Saenda Sports Complex in Lilongwe today. Welcome back. Government realizes the role that reliable energy plays in sourcing income for almost all households in the country. Minister responsible Jean Matanga made the remarks when she visited Tedzani Power Station in Neno District. She says the ministry is committed to delivering universal reliable energy for all Malawians to increase productivity. Mercy Zamawa has compiled us this report, being read by George Banda.
After touring the Tedzani hydropower station, Dr. Jean Matanga said that many national development activities depend on electricity and that the DPP-led government is determined to ensure that the country has a dependable power supply. Dr. Matanga added that the DPP's policy agenda prioritizes energy development and that the government is doing everything possible to achieve this goal.
I would say that I'm impressed with the progress so far, because I came here to check the progress on the maintenance of one unit on one of the machines which has been off since November 2024. And that meant we had lost 31 megawatt on the national grid. And of course, when I've been talking to management at Ejengo, they were promising me that once they get the necessary spares, they're going to embark on the maintenance works and they'll get the machine back on come this month end, December end. So I came here just to appreciate the progress.
During the tour, the minister expressed satisfaction with the progress of the ongoing works and commended the Ejengo staff for their dedication. She encouraged them to continue their good work in serving Malawians.
As you know, energy is a critical component of this nation. It is an enabler for industry to thrive, for any essential service to be operated smoothly. We need enough energy, adequate and reliable. Now, government realizes that and they've promised, the Minister of Finance has promised or has undertaken to make sure that they prioritize payments towards importation of these spare parts. I'm talking about allocation of forex to our sector. So the government is committed to make sure that in disbursement of forex, they'll make sure that the energy sector is also prioritized.
Ejengo Chief Executive Officer William Liabunya assured Malawians that by the end of this month, the rehabilitation works on the machines will be completed.
We are looking at rehabilitating and modernizing these power plants. So it's already on course. We have already secured financing from African Development Bank for Kumalawi, and we're also looking at the EU and the EIB, that's European Union and European Investment Bank, who could also assist us with Capichina. That we can modernize these plants and they can become reliable and efficient.
The Tedzani hydropower station stopped generating 31 megawatts of electricity in December last year due to mechanical faults.
Trained caregivers are dropping out of Nkata District Early Childhood Development ECD, an issue that is affecting progress of the center. This was disclosed at the graduation ceremony of 300 caregivers supported by World Vision in the district. Meklina Chira has compiled this report.
Many caregivers in early childhood development ECD centers in the country continue to drop out of work because they receive little to no incentives to keep them motivated. Speaking at the event, James Tembo, Director of Administration and Human Resources at Nkata District Council, acknowledged the progress made in promoting ECD but highlighted the challenges caregivers face.
We are faring very well in Nkata mainly because of the support of the partners, Makamaka, the World Vision, and the Synod.
Rev Nasi Chunga, Executive Director of CCAP Synod of Livingstonia's ECD department, emphasized that caregiver dropouts are negatively impacting ECD development in the district.
Just to inform you that only a few caregivers they are able to receive 20,000 honoraria in Malawi. Out of 66,000 caregivers, only about 2,000 or so receiving remuneration. That is a problem, and we believe that if there is a structured way how caregivers will be remunerated, we will be able to retain them so that they can do their work.
Dr. John Moyo, World Vision Malawi education advisor, stressed the need for collaborative efforts to tackle the challenges faced by caregivers. He highlighted the importance of addressing caregiver dropouts to ensure the sustainability and the quality of ECD services.
Be quick to say those challenges cannot be managed by World Vision only. We need all partners to come in and support the government to deal with the challenges that caregivers are facing. So on our part, while we are providing the services, we are also doing advocacy to make sure that we bring in more partners to support the government.
The trained caregivers are expected to benefit approximately 3,709 children in Katabe, making their role crucial in the district's early childhood development. Meklina Chirwa, MBC News, Mzuzu.
Moving on to sports, the Africa Netball Cup is underway at Griffin Sayenda Sports Complex in Lilongwe. The tournament has 8 nations competing in women's netball, while 7 are facing off in men's netball. Our sports reporter, Norbert Jamison, joins us live to share more details on this. Welcome, Norbert.
Thank you, Eve.
So tell us, how is the first day of the tournament?
Actually, the first match was supposed to be Malawi men's and Eswatini, but we are told that Eswatini have not arrived. They will be arriving sometime later today. So the first match was between South Africa men's and Botswana. South Africa won that one. And now it's actually Zimbabwe are playing Namibia in ladies netball. 2 more matches will follow later this afternoon. And then there's going to be the official opening ceremony and the official opening match involving the Malawi Queens and Botswana. That's going to be later in the evening at 7 o'clock. That's when the official match is going to be played, because normally when in a tournament the hosts have to play in the official opening fixture. So that match is happening later in the evening between Malawi Queens and Botswana. So the men's will play tomorrow against Eswatini.
Now, talking about men, I think most of us didn't know that men are actually also involved in netball. Yeah,
I saw it on social media as well over the weekend that a lot of people looked surprised when it was reported that the men's team has when the squad was unveiled. But officially we have a men's netball team which was formed this year. Previously, they used to play some social netball, but officially we have a national men's netball team. It's called the Malawi Kings, because the ladies are known as Malawi Kings. Yes, so we have the Malawi Kings, and this is their first tournament for them to participate in.
All right.
Sure.
So what are Malawi's chances in this competition?
For the men's, like I've said, this is the first time that we have had a team competing in an international tournament. So we shouldn't expect much from them. But for the Queens, a lot of expectations. There are 2 teams that often give us problems, South Africa and Uganda. They are also in the tournament. South Africa are the champions. They won this tournament last year, and Malawi finished on position 4 when the tournament took place in Namibia. This time around, I'm hoping for an improvement from the Malawi team, because when we played South Africa in February this year, the damage wasn't all that much. It was minimal. We lost by 3 goals, 58-55. And when we lost to Uganda also in February at the Vitality Netball Cup in the UK, Uganda, the margin was 50-45, beating Malawi. So I believe what's ringing in the heads of the girls right at the moment is that we lost by 3 goals, we lost by 5 goals. It's time to close the gap and beat Uganda, beat South Africa, so that this trophy stays home this time around. So I have the hope that the Queens are going to carry the day.
Now, 8 nations are actually participating in this competition, but only 7 for the men's category. Should we
Yes.
say the other country? Which country is that?
There's one country. There is one country that
has no men's team.
Yeah, has no men's team. Because even previously, Malawi did not have a men's team. When we traveled for this tournament in Namibia last year, the other teams had ladies and men's netball. We only had the ladies team. We did not travel with the men's. So there is one country also this time around that has not traveled with the men's team.
Now, away from the African Netball Cup, now TNM Super League.
Yes.
There seems to be a lot. It's getting hot.
Hot and hotter.
Hot and hotter.
Exactly.
Yes. So we understand that Wanderers and FCB Nyasa Bullets, Big Bullets, have actually leveled on points, but they have got difference. Maybe which team are you betting on? Which team do you think is going to be able to?
It's really difficult to put your money on either of the two teams as it is at the moment. With just 4 matches left to conclude the season, these teams are back in action in midweek. Bullets are in the northern region. They are playing Moyara on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we have Wanderers playing Karonga United at the Kamuzu Stadium. You cannot really tell at the moment, but whichever team slips, drops points, draw or defeat, it's over.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I think over the weekend we've been seeing a lot. I think for the Arsenal team.
Oh yeah.
I've been seeing mangoes, yellow mangoes, next to Arsenal.
Oh yes.
What's the connection?
There's a connection between Arsenal. People often say that when the mango season sets in, Arsenal often lose ground in the title race when it comes to the Premier League. So this is the mango season, and then Arsenal were beaten on Saturday by Aston Villa. So people are connecting the two. That normally, most of the times these things happen. December, January, Arsenal often lose ground in the title race. So it happened on Saturday. That's why you saw a lot of mangoes on social media connected to Arsenal.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That is our sports analyst, Norbert Timison, shedding more light on some of the fixtures that's in the Netball Africa Cup as well as TNM Super League. And while that item also concludes this edition of MBC News, a recap of our top stories before we leave. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah stresses on the need to build people's skills as they are key to building personal income. Government commits to delivering universal reliable energy for all Malawians to increase productivity. And in sports, the Africa Netball Cup kicks off at Griffin Saenda Sports Complex in Lilongwe today. For more updates, visit our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me, Abale Chingambe. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.
What's your name? Gary, huh? It's my game.
We put everything into this. Those that can do it and succeed, how to fix it.
This city
It
has
isn't
been
just a
my home for
cookbook, it's part of
being hit here
with the latest global news and insightful documentary.
Transition.
Understanding the
But if you ask them know me. I know they blow trees, only lonely me.
Greetings everybody, and this is Career Path with me by Teach Malizan. Today we journey into the path of a dancer with Zahira Musa. Welcome Zahira.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, Bayati?
I'm good. So first and foremost, we want to know what inspired you to be a dancer.
Okay, my story is funny, short and funny. We are 4 in our family, 2 girls, 2 boys. My mom would just lock us inside the house and buy us movies to watch because she thought that she had a team whereby we have 2 boys and 2 girls. You can play with each other. And yeah, growing up as an introvert, she would buy us movies, lock us indoors. I thought she was abusive by then, but then, yeah, it really helped. She used to buy me Barbie movies. And growing up watching Barbie, dancing, and doing what Barbie does just inspired me a lot. And as a child, people would laugh at me and be like, this is not from Malawi. You never go anywhere else in Malawi with this. So rather focus on education than on these dances and these acting stuff with Barbie, because you acting so childish. So just drop it and then do what Malawians are doing. So yeah,